Hi, I'm Sean from St. James Roman Catholic Secondary School. It's a girls' school out in Shorterville. And this is Tanya Plakanoris.
There we go.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
She's my partner for this year, and so she's going to start. Thanks, Tanya.
So, what we did was we put our slides together. So I'll go and then Sean will follow. But why did I join PFP? I was very privileged to be sponsored by the Stucken Group. And so when Anique and Gillian met me for some coffee, I could not contain my excitement, and I rushed home and told Ryan that I was going to be part of this program. And Ryan asked me, what is this program? And I said, I'm going to learn with the principal. So, and that's exactly what I've done. And I wanted to go and learn how to lead better from within. And I knew straight away after meeting with Gillian that that's exactly what was going to happen for the year. The greatest leadership lesson was that I learned that I must not change myself and become more of me. I know that's pretty deep, but I learned that I am enough. And through all our workshops and our gatherings, what Pumla said, I learned very quickly that I could come to the party and I could come to the gathering and be me. And it was enough. And so that was my greatest lesson through this whole PFP. I facilitate myself with young adults, and I find myself in a lot of opportunities to teach. And Listen to Ignite was that term that we learned right in the beginning, and that stayed with me. Listen to ignite ideas, to ignite conversation, to ignite a challenge and a possibility. And so now I go into meetings, I go into training, I go into facilitation, and I listen. And it ignites, the whole room ignites. And so that is definitely something that I will use and continue to use for as long as I can.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Okay, for me, why I joined PFP, I remember last year, I was part of another COP. We were a principals group who were working together with the then GM Foundation, and that came to an end when GM moved out of the country. And so we continued with a group called Siawela, is that correct? There was a lady there called Kathy, and she said to me, well, don't you want to be part of PFP? And I asked, what's PFP all about? And so she introduced me to Gillian, and I remember meeting Gillian in a coffee shop in Cape Road, and told me about PFP, and I said, well, I'm in, okay? And so I think for me was the opportunity to learn. I'm very keen. Whenever there's an opportunity to do something, I'm in. And so I've really learned a lot this year about myself. Sometimes you think you know yourself, but you certainly learn to know a bit more about yourself. And then I think what has been my greatest leadership lesson was that this year was one of those things which was difficult, was giving my power away, okay? Because when you are in a leadership position and being a principal of a school, you tend to want to hold the power because that is your authority, and you think that people will not respect you, etc., etc. And so I remember with COVID being at its height, just after returning to school, and we had done the session with Rama. And I remember I had a session with my staff that day, and I had them to speak. And it wasn't a good session because I gave my power away. Okay? But I think it was a wonderful opportunity for me to learn. And so I do it more often these days because it's not about me. Okay? And that I think is learned. The thing that I give my power away in the best interest of the organization. Not about me, it's about the organization at the end of the day. And the last thing is, how have I used these lessons basically now? With COVID, I lost, well, an SMT member basically is off on sick leave. There was an incident at school, and so she's off basically now since May until now. And so I had to broaden my SMT, so I invited more people in, and of course, delegating more responsibility, and in that way, giving my power away as well. Because I like to do things myself, and I had to learn also to then give some of that away. Okay, Tanya?
Next slide. I'm just going to read this because it took me some time to put it into words. Our relationship is quiet but strong. The respect I have for Sean is simple. What I mean by simple is that it came easy for me to respect him. I found myself wanting Sean to be proud of me, not in a childlike manner, but rather as a leader who carries her heart on her sleeve. Sean's leadership allowed me to challenge my innocence and my ability to see it as a virtue. Sean gave me the confidence to honor myself and to be grateful. Yep.
Okay. The we, Tanya and us, I remember the first time we had a session here was Time to Think. And we sat there, right there where Guthrie's sitting now, obviously in pairs. You saw the picture earlier of Guthrie and Rose sitting on that side with the window. And we had to share some personal things. And that allowed, Tanya was very, very open to share, okay? And that allowed me to share, about. And so I think our journey is one of mutual support and respect for each other. There was never an obligation on any of our part, but a willingness at all times. And something I realized about Tanya, I remember the first time we did the launch, not the launch really, it was what was it called, in the F&B building, Gillian?
The info session.
The info session, yeah. And I remember Tanya sitting across, and she wanted to know what this is all about and when are we going to start to do things, So she's a doer. Certainly not I want to say she's not a thinker, but not a procrastinator. Doesn't want to talk in long meetings. She wants to do things. And I think this has been challenging for her because she wanted to get on with things. And for me, I analyze and I sometimes overanalyze things. But I've had to learn from her in that respect as well. And because of what we have experienced COVID this year, we were able to talk freely to each other without judgment, without any bias as well. And I must say the encouragement I got from Tanya and from Gillian as well. There was a time we were in arbitrage, and I had just been through a terrible time with my staff, and I said to them, I'm packing up now, I'm going to move, I've had enough. And they basically encouraged me, So yeah, the we was more than just the two of us, it was the three of us and everybody else as well was part of that we in this journey.
Mm. Next slide. The work that we managed to do was not tangible and it wasn't visible, but the work within ourselves was actually immeasurable. We surrendered to the fact that 2020 wasn't going to happen, and it taught us other ways of connecting, like you noticed with all of us, and we learned to trust the new normal. One thing that did happen, and I think it is work, is that our hearts grew rather than our heads this year, and to me that's great work. Through our gatherings, I love that. I'm using it all the time. I no longer use the word meetings. Through our gatherings, I realized that there was a superpower between all of us, and that the power was to attract good people. We're able to attract good people. And so I connected with givers, and we raised funds to assist Sean in providing basic needs to his scholars. We had ideas, but 2020 has taught us that good ideas do not have expiry dates. So we have a good idea. So I'm hoping that 2021 would be the one year we could possibly achieve it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I think, with what Tanya has said there is that in the midst of COVID, Tanya managed to secure a donation for us for the school of 10,000 Rand. And basically, what we had done, I decided how I'm going to use this money. And so we decided the kids that were needy, get some food parcels for them. I'm still today using that money for bus fare for kids who can't come to school, because particularly matriculants at this time with exams. So they come and not to say they line up, but they come and they say, I need bus fare. And so I've got a lady in charge of that, and so we keep book in terms of that. And also on Teachers Day, I was able to use some of that funds to show appreciation to my teachers. So it was really a wonderful thing that was able to happen this year. I think for me, community building was the highlight of of this year with Rama particularly, I think what really stood out to me was the power of the small group. That's something that will stick with me forever. You know, big plenaries like this, yes, we can talk and talk, but the change happens within the small group. And so certainly that's something that will stick with me, which I will use going forward. And I have used it effectively, you know, together with Time to Think. We know with Time to Think says people don't think for themselves. And we must encourage people to think for themselves. And so I had a meeting with my HGB last week on Thursday, last week on Monday evening, excuse me, and allowed them the freedom to express themselves. And what a good meeting it was. You know, it took 2.5 hours, but you didn't feel the time, and they went out of there saying that we achieved so much because we had somebody adopted that, the small group, and allowing people to give their input into things. Okay. You can move forward. There's something there. I think there's some pics there. Okay, that is when Tanya and I, the first time she came to school.
I showed this picture to my daughter. No, my daughter wanted to know how we looked. I said we looked like brother and sister.
And this was a project, jamming for a cause. Tanya makes her own fig jam.
Guava jam.
Sorry, guava jam. And I must say it's good, okay? I have a jar of it at home. And she raised, she had a 500 rand voucher from the spa. And so we had a raffle to try and raise some money for the learners during lockdown for internet connectivity and so forth, yeah. So it didn't raise a lot of money, but it was a good venture. And it certainly helped in that respect as well, yeah. So those are the winners over there. This over here, can I just say this about this, Tanya?
You can.
Okay. You see, there are food parcels. You know, when COVID started, everybody was giving out food parcels. And Tanya was doing that as well. Okay? And really, I was amazed at this woman having the energy and doing what she was able to do, sending me pics of a car loaded with food parcels. And one thing I've learned from her, and I shared this before in the group, was compassion. I've seen a woman of compassion in spite of she's able to go out there and not focus on your own things, but focus on how you can assist others. And certainly the year has been easy for all of us, including her and the family. But she was still able to make a difference in the community. So, yeah.
And I say the same to Sean. I mentioned it to him, and he put money into my account and said, go and buy food parcels. So, I can just mirror what he's just said himself. Yeah. So those are the pictures. I didn't want to put them all in together. But this is our dream, eh?
Yep.
That's our dream.
Yeah, we want to make the school a beacon of hope. It really needs to be. Rose is on the top of the hill. So, Patterson is a street up from St. James, so we will shine the light onto your school there, Rose. Okay.
So this was one of Rama's projects that we did together, and so I think we're going to take this into the new year, the what ifs, and so what if our school is a beacon of hope and opportunity for you, your children, and your family. Yeah. So, but thank you. It has been a wonderful journey. Thank you, Gillian, and thank you to Stucken Group. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Gillian. The last thing, and thank you everybody who was part of this PFP P4 group. The last thing that will always stick with this one thing that Rama said, and it's something that I've learned. He said it's not about the content, it's about the connection. So always remember that's not about the content, it's about the connection. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.